Hey there, it's Remy from Kensui Fitness, and today I interviewed Mike Smart, who I think should actually be named Mike Strong because he's an absolute beast. He's 6'1", and he can hold the full planche, do a very deep 90-degree push-ups, and all sorts of very advanced moves. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy the interview. Yeah, how's your day going?
Interesting. It's an interesting day.
All right.
Definitely an interesting day. I've had an interesting evening and whatnot. But yeah, how you
Cool.
doing, man?
I'm good.
Are you in France? Because Remy is a French name.
No, I'm not French. My dad is Dutch and my mom is Japanese, and they just gave me a French name.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, my dad is English Italian, my mother is American Irish, and I was born in Singapore, so
okay, it's super
equally random.
So you're not Spanish at all. You just live in Spain.
Oh no, I speak Spanish. I've been here for like 18 years now, man. So yeah.
When you were young, like when you were a child, you moved to Spain.
Yeah. Gotcha. In the questions, you'll see, because there's some things like that have nothing to do with calisthenics. Like when I reviewed them, I was like, I've got quite a lot of things to say.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just saw your Instagram. I remember like you in one of the posts you were speaking. And it's like that doesn't sound like a Spanish accent at all.
No. Like in terms of bilingual, I think I've got the definition of bilingual because I've got Spanish where they go, you're English, and then I've got English where they go, you're not Spanish. I've even got videos that I've done in Spanish where the comment section, because they would have seen me doing a video with another guy. I don't know if you know Daniel's License. He's a freestyler from Calisthenics.
Yeah, from Latvia.
Yeah,
right?
he's one of my best mates. Yeah, he's one of my best friends, and he's like a little brother to me. And I did videos with him, and then I did videos with another guy from Spain. And in the comment section with the guys from Spain, because I was speaking Spanish so fluently, they were like, bro, he's Spanish. No, he's Valencian. No, he's English. And I'm like, are you guys arguing for me? It was like they were all trying to decide where I was from, and I'm just like, I can't say anything. Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm the same.
Yeah, definitely.
I grew up in Canada and the U.S. as well, so it's always like people ask me where I'm from, and I just kind of go with the flow. Whatever is like the most.
Yeah. You just like.
Yeah.
Dude, you just say international. I'm international.
Sometimes I like.
And they're like, what does that even mean?
Sometimes it doesn't. People ask me where I'm from, and I'm like, I'm from North Korea. Because in Europe I look more Asian, right? And sometimes they're like, no, you're kidding. A lot of times they just believe me, like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, you should visit.
Just roll with it. Oh, dude, that would be so funny if you just roll with it. Just be like, man, crossing that border. Oh. Just go with it. Just completely go with it, and just like invent stories and shit like that. I remember torrents looking for me. But yeah, that's actually a good one. I'm from North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, because people ask me all the time because I travel quite often, and it gets kind of tiring having to answer the same question over and over again. So it's like, all right, I'll switch it up.
Yeah.
I'll make it interesting for myself. Yeah.
I do that over here, but more to the point. The reason why I'm called Mike and not Michael is over here. Man was Michael, and I was like, Mike. Mike is good. Mike is fine. Stick with the one Mike. I don't. Michael. It's just weird. Like I was just like, fuck. I'm just gonna be Mike.
Your last name is like really.
And even then, they write it funny. Yeah, just smart. And even then, they're like, yeah, he might be Spanish. I'm like, that is the least Spanish surname I've ever seen in my life. It's so like posh English. I'm like, how did you get that confused? But yeah, it's not posh English, but yeah, it's kind of posh English. Like I found out the origins of my name and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay, don't really care.
Definitely sounds like an English name. I mean,
yeah, it's definitely an English name.
Yeah. So how did you get into calisthenics?
Well, getting into calisthenics was kind of fun because it happened by accident. Like in calisthenics, in terms of like what we see nowadays with freestyle, statics, and front levers, and like more advanced cali. When I started it, it was like back in the day, Hannibal for King style. It was more to the point like it was like I was supplementing my training with calisthenics, and one day I was at the park and some kid saw me doing muscle ups, and he was like, "Oh, you do street workout?" And
Okay.
I kind of was like, I'd never heard of it, and I just went, "Yeah, I train on the streets." Like,
Before you were doing just
yeah,
like weight training, and you were supplementing it with some bodybuilding.
yeah. Like before calisthenics, I was a rugby player.
A rugby player.
I played, yeah, I played. Well, I was a flanker, but I ended up playing number two, so hooker, the front row. I was the lightest player in the European tournament when I represented Spain, and for that position, I was like the smallest guy, but they found it more useful putting me there. So yeah, I used to be a rugby player, and then injuries, and I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Because after a while, at one point, I went to the doctor, and my hernia had already come out. Like at this point, I already had a hernia, and he was like, "Listen, man, you can continue playing. There's no problem. But if a 130 kilo guy falls on you badly,
Yeah.
I can't tell you if you're going to be able to walk after that." And I was like, aha, there's the ultimatum. Yeah, I prefer walking.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which was kind of sucky because that year was like, they were kind of like, I was getting invited to, or I got invited to the London Wasp Academy, which is kind of like going to a football academy. Like once you go there, you've made it kind of thing. And like that was right before some operations and stuff like that. So I was like, But it went from rugby to CrossFit, which is like the easiest sort of conversion of style of training, high intensity strength, basically.
Yeah.
And in CrossFit, I started learning how to do caddy stuff, like specifically the muscle up, because even then the handstand wasn't a thing. It was just muscle ups at that point with a lot of kipping. And I didn't understand how to do it. So I just kind of like translated a hand clean, which I was doing a lot of because of rugby. And I was like, oh, okay, it's literally the exact opposite movement. Instead of pulling up, I pull down. And instead of pushing up, I push down.
Okay,
Like
so reverse hand clean.
the whole switching of the hands and everything, the grip, the center of gravity, I was like, this is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I tried it out once, it worked out. And then I was just like, this is way more fun.
So how
Like
long?
I got much more, it was much more rewarding. Let's put it that way.
All right. So how long were you doing rugby? Like when did you quit and start CrossFit?
So with rugby, I started when I was like 14,
Okay.
like properly. I reached the under 20s for Spain, 19 when I had to quit. And then it was like 3 years of like CrossFit slash, do you remember Greg Plitt?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, I was like a hyper fanatic of Greg Plitt. If you've ever seen a photo of me wearing a dog tag, they sent me that dog tag because I was one of the first members on his website.
Okay.
After he passed away, they sent it to.
Yeah. When did he pass away?
Shit, like 2004, 2015, I think, or 2016. It
Okay.
wasn't too long ago. It was long. It was long enough for us to be like, oh, I can't remember, but it wasn't that long ago. It was relatively recent, like prospectively speaking.
I mean, he was more like
yeah,
right? I mean, he was like a fitness
yeah,
photo shoot
yeah.
model.
That was the thing that I liked about him, though, was it was easy for me to get that intensity.
Yeah,
Like I could understand the intensity that he was going at, the supersets, the non-stop, the motivational speaking, like that really spoke to me.
okay.
And to this day, one of the things that he said in his speeches is still like one of the biggest motivations for me, which is if you feel burnt out, go to a cancer ward.
You get
And
the
tell that to the kids there. If you feel like you're burnt out and you're tired and you can't do anything, go to a cancer ward and tell that to the kids there.
Oh, gotcha.
And that stuck with me hard. Like that hit me hard. Like that was like, yeah, he's right. He's 100% right. There are people out there that are way worse.
Yes.
Injuries is nothing. Like when you're being told you're gonna die, that must be a different level. So I was just like, he motivated me enough to push myself hard in the gym. And then Cali came into it, and I just switched all the focus onto Cali.
Gotcha. Yeah, calisthenics is quite safe though. I mean, maybe if you do the freestyle stuff, it's a little bit more dangerous. But
like freestyle, I don't even go next to.
Okay,
I can't do freestyle.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I mean, people pick and see. I think the rep stuff is becoming more popular these days.
It is. You know why? I actually know this as a fact because I'm relatively involved in the scene. And as I said, Daniels is one of my best friends, and he's like ranked number 3 in the world, number 2, whatever the hell it is that he's ranked. I get to see the whole scene, and the problem that's been happening now is basically that because it's an amateur sport, there's no preparation. Like no one does any preparatory work towards freestyle. So it's really common if you go to the park, you'll see some kids that can barely do 10 pull-ups, but they're going for 360s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't realize that the tension that the strain that they're putting on their shoulders just by releasing themselves at that speed, and the impact every time they hit themselves, and the twisting of their back and all this other kind of stuff. And recently it's come to light that a lot of people just stopped doing freestyle. They were just like, I can't do it anymore. It hurts.
That's
And
right.
then they went into statics and they're like, I can't do it anymore. It hurts. And now that a lot of people doing reps because it's just like, it's just too painful, man.
Yeah,
Or
from
they don't get,
yeah, look at
or,
the stuff. It's like just like if you're gonna do that, why don't you just do gymnastics? You know, like it
yeah,
seems
yeah.
like a lower level version of gymnastics. So I was like, at least
Yeah,
find.
it is. And if you look at the scene properly, the ones who are like hyper popular, I guess, in the Cali scene, they all have near perfect gymnastic form.
Yeah,
And it's because they have that base from when they were kids.
yeah,
So for example, La Rosa, if you look at La Rosa, he has gymnastics as a base. So his form is insane. His form is pristine. And it's what gave him like competitions and points and whatnot, to the extent where Italy is a special area in the street workout scene. It's like for the rest of the world, you don't go to Italy because in Italy they only focus on form and gymnastics and stuff like that. Like it's all, everything has to be perfect. In fact, the judges in the street workout competitions are actually gymnasts.
yeah. So they're probably
So
good.
it's kind of like it's like going to a boxing fight and having jujitsu people being the moderators. It's like it's kind of weird.
But I heard the level is getting higher for street workouts. Like, I mean, some of the
Oh
stats
yeah, definitely.
now are just insane. It's almost like the level of the real gymnasts.
The thing is that it is actually in some cases better. In some cases, what the street workout kids can do is more than what gymnasts can do because they don't follow like the steady progression.
Yeah,
So as a gymnast, you'll know that they do things as kids. They started off as kids. Like I've seen kids that can hold full planches easy, and they're like 10 years old. But at the same time, I've seen people in calisthenics, like what we do, the value behind what we do is different. For example, they value rings. They value like they have their each set of thing that they compete in, right? For us, it's like how well can you do this one move and how often? Like I've seen Olympic level gymnasts do 4 or 5 planche presses, and that was like considered serious training. Whereas I've seen kids like Thomas Kurbanoff from LA, from the West Coast Warriors. He's there just full full planche pressing like it's nothing, just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, one-handed handstand, one-handed planche, up and down, up and down, up and down, and you kind of like, I've never seen a gymnast do that.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked too much, but I might remember, Yad Mohammed. He's like also very strong. He's
Oh, the guy from Dubai.
no, he's from the Netherlands. But yeah, he's
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But he's not like a ethnically Dutch. Maybe that's what you got confused. But yeah, he's also he's super strong. But yeah, he said he used to do gymnastics more because it was just stronger. But now that the street workout is also getting so strong that like he's kind of just moving, like he just does
Yeah,
both.
it's because they basically realized that they need, if they want to continue doing it at a decent level, that they have to literally up their game and follow the, like, before street workout was referred to as pseudo gymnastics.
Yeah, like gymnastics
So
little
like,
or something. I remember.
yeah, and that kind of bothered a lot of people from Cali, I think. So they kind of went and were just like, fine, we'll do what you do.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've already like like I'm never gonna become as good as those like gymnasts that are like 5'4" and they've been
Oh
doing.
yeah, 100%. I'm also on that level too. I'm just like, I'm gonna focus on my handstand push-ups. I'm good at that.
Weighted calisthenics, like there's like less, I don't know, nervous system involved or something, and because even though you're bigger, you're not 5'4", like you can also lift more weight because of that, right?
Yeah, I'm actually relatively big for a Cali guy.
Okay, how tall are you?
6 foot,
Okay, yeah, that's definitely tall. I know
5'11", 6 foot,
my
and
is also like really tall, right? Daniel was it
oh
like,
yeah, Daniels is a little bit taller than me.
okay,
He's
yeah,
a
but
little bit taller than me, but he's a little bit thinner than me right now. I
gotcha.
weigh currently 74 kilos.
Okay, yeah, I'm about the same. I'm like a bit shorter than you, but I'm like 74 kilos. But I think you're
Yeah,
leaner than
and then
what it is.
a lot. The lean thing is something I've not been able to change since 2013. Like if you go all the way back to the beginning of my post, for some reason, 2013, my body just went, "Oh, you're not playing rugby anymore. Let's go for aesthetics."
All right, so
For real, like it was when I had to quit the extra fat, the protection
yeah,
from hits and all this stuff. I changed my diet a little bit, started doing the Greg Plitt, like I said, and that's when like the aesthetics, if you will, came about, and I just kept it up.
yeah. So do you have like a diet plan or like what kind of food?
In the beginning, I did. In the beginning, I did because I think it's necessary. In the beginning, to like at least understand what it means to control the way you eat.
Okay,
Like I'm not an advocate of being hardcore dieting because I don't see the point in it. It's not sustainable. Like I see a lot of people going on these really hardcore diets, and I'm just like, okay, because you have to think, can you keep that up? Like it's a known thing for most trainers as well, for people who give diets or whatever it is. Can that client keep it up for ever? Like not forever, but like even after I'm finished training with them? Because if that's the case, if it's not the case, then the second that I've stopped training this person, they're going to blow up or
okay,
lose their physique or whatever it is. And the case is, it's like you don't have to go on these incredible, drastic sort of calorie deficits, super clean, macro orientated diets. It's just maintaining a few healthy rules and then being very consistent. Like that's literally it. Like 2013 to 2020, 7 years.
yeah. But
That's
you're not vegetarian or yeah, you eat 3 meals a day.
nah. Like when it comes to food, I actually don't pay attention to the like. To me, it makes little difference. I more than anything, I look at what it does to me. So, say for example, if it's bioly available, one of my favorite foods is instant oats, like flavored instant oats, mixed with 2 eggs, mixed with vegan protein powder because you can cook vegan protein powder.
Oh, I didn't know
Like
that.
one of the
You cook
yeah,
weight.
it because I have friends in the supplement industry as well. They would tell me, dude, never cook with whey, and I was like, why? And they're like, the heat denatures the whey, so you might as well just not be eating protein.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, and so ever since then, I've used vegan protein powder because if you look at what it's from, peas, fava beans, hemp, like soy, I stay away from because I don't like the added estrogen. I don't see the need for it.
Yeah.
But there are really good sources of vegan protein powder that I add to that, and I make it's kind of like a brownie. It's like a calorie brownie, I guess, because it's just carbs, protein, and some good fats. And that would be like a pre-workout meal for me. But I'll eat my meats. I'll eat whatever's put in front of me. I'll eat it. It just depends on how much work I put into the past 2 days. Because if I've done nothing, I won't gorge. I'm not going to eat like crazy. Whereas if I've trained, I'm definitely going to eat because I'm definitely like, okay, I've used up some fuel. I need to put something back in. If I don't use up the fuel, I don't really feel the need to put too much back in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But also, you listen to your body, right? If you work out a lot, like for me, if I do like a deadlift session or squat session, the next day I'm actually a lot more hungry than usual.
Yeah. And for me, because of my injuries, I've got a herniated disc. For me, if I do a deadlift session, I'm 100% aware the next day I won't be able to do stuff.
So, but you still, so even with your injuries, you still do deadlifts.
Yeah. One of the questions that you had was injuries. And when I read that, I was like, "Ah."
Yeah.
Wow. To
Let's
sum it
go
up,
through all your injuries then.
I'll go, I'll
Let's,
go over the main ones, but let's just like to sum it up from head to toe, quite literally.
all right.
like in terms of head, I've had my head gashed open by someone stepping on me in rugby,
Rugby?
and yeah, there's metal studs in rugby. He just stepped on my head and cut across. You can't really see it. It's like up
Oh,
here in my hair, and then I had to staple that. And in terms of toes, um, it's because of handstands, because I would fall on my toes, and I have a basically one of my, I can't remember which one because I'm so used to it at this point. It's been years, but one of my big toes is broken. It's just permanently broken. It just solidified where it was. So from head to toe. But
but so you just
main injuries,
yeah, but you're really good at balancing the
the
hands.
main injuries would be, yeah, oddly enough, at one point I was not rated by people who do handstands because I don't use balance. Like if you look at my hips, I'm very rigid when I do my handstands. Like I don't balance myself, and it's because the hand that I do my handstands on, my one hand handstands on, I have a gymnastic injury called slap, which is a tiny micro tear in one of my. It's basically like next to your rotator cuff. It's really internal, and it's so micro that it doesn't affect anything. Like I can still move around, but what happens is that my shoulder finds it really difficult to lock out like that.
Okay,
So, for example, I can't do one-handed pull-ups because I can't and then pull
I see. But how about
because
the other
I
arm?
don't have the ligament. Huh?
But you can do the one arm, like with the other arm is fine, right?
Yeah, no, no, oh no, no, no. This shoulder was when I had to quit rugby. It was because I had to get this shoulder operated on.
Okay. Oh, so you
Like
both
this
do.
is the one that stopped me from going to the academy. So this shoulder's messed up from an operation to the extent where you can actually see I have like a indent. Like my chest doesn't develop around my tattoo.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Yeah,
you'll see it in photos. It's like the upper chest doesn't develop, and I think it's because they connected some. Oops, sorry. They connected some fibers from my chest to my shoulder to keep it in place or whatever it was. Um, that shoulder's fine in terms of strength. There's no injuries there, but this shoulder's injured. But that's the shoulder that I use.
not just because
Because
you're
of the
right,
operation,
or because you just
yeah, it's basically because I'm right-handed, and the left one, because of what they did to it, I can't. Like there's certain things, for example, one-handed handstands I can't do because they've reattached some ligaments in certain areas, and I can't. Like as soon as I go like that, it just twists.
oh,
It
okay.
pops out.
Yeah.
So I kind of make do with what I can do, um, in terms of that. And the other big injury, which was it's still the biggest injury, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, is the 2 to 3. I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. Hernias in my lower back, L4, L5, and possibly I think it's S1.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I don't know them too well, but
Um,
it's all from rugby.
yeah, no, that was well, one of them was from rugby. The other one was from badly warming up. And when I was in London, I got asked to do a demo reel for Men's Health by my agent, and I was working as a fitness model. And when I did, I went for the planche and I held it at max time. And when without warming up, because I was like, oh my God, this is a big chance. And I held it for max time. It was a good hold, but because I was so tense, when I landed it, I landed on my knee. And because of my previous injuries, what had happened was basically my hernia went and popped back out.
So like basically from landing the after the plant, you dropped on your
I
knee.
landed it badly with an already existing problem with no warm up. I basically messed up myself.
Okay.
And after that, I was like, oh God, ow, 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 ow. But even then, before that, I was already kind of like a little, not 100% when it came to my back, because I rarely do I never did heavy squats actually. I couldn't load my back like that. But handstands was always something that I did. It was the only thing that didn't bother me
Okay.
because I didn't feel any pressure.
Yeah. All right.
So
Would you
sorry?
say would you say handstands are like your biggest strength? Like
Yeah.
handstand push-ups?
Yeah, because when in doing as much handstand push-ups that I did, I found out when they operated on my back, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when they operated on my back, I actually found out that the doctor couldn't remove all my hernias because I had essentially developed two incredibly rigid pillars next to my spine, and they didn't have enough time to move my lumbars in order to get to my spine in order to cut out the hernia because this anesthetics was about to wear off.
They couldn't
So
just
they
give,
had to close me up. Huh?
so they couldn't just give you more anesthesia or like have another
No, no, they couldn't. Like anesthesia is something that even my parents were telling me, like, you have to be really careful with that. Like, you really have to go and do it exactly the way they say. Otherwise, you could either not wake up or wake up mid-operation. You don't want that.
Yeah.
So I was like, the reason why they closed me up was simply that. They were just like, the operation went well. We didn't have the chance to get rid of everything, but whatever. And so after that, I did my recovery time. I think I went a little bit too quickly because, again, I think the muscular strength came back way faster than my back healing. So I was already trying to do things that I shouldn't have been doing because it felt okay.
Yeah, it felt super
But
hard to be.
yeah, like I was like, yeah, this feels okay. I can try it out. I can try it out. And then, later down the line, I'm retroactively speaking, like, yeah, I probably should have taken maybe a month longer
Yeah.
or 2 months longer to get back. But it is what it is. There's no point in going crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, I was a swimmer before, so I was fortunate enough to not have any really like big injuries. And then calisthenics for the last 5 years, and actually I think this is like my first like proper injuries. Like I got a burritis in my shoulder. I'm not sure if you've
Yeah,
ever.
you got a little capsule. You got yourself a little capsule of liquid in there.
Yeah, I think because I was practicing too much, like because recently I learned during the pandemic, I decided I was going to learn how to do the handstand, and I succeeded. And obviously, like I just kept practicing a lot, and I probably just overdid
Yeah.
the pressing, the handstand push-ups.
Yeah, it's actually the same thing happened to me. It was bursitis that developed into the slap because I kind of just, the problem with my hernia was that it made me really comfortable with pain. The herniated, yeah, for real. Like the UK messed me up a little bit because they didn't
But even
want to operate on me.
yeah, like swimming is so
Sorry?
like you get so used to dealing with the lactic acid and pain, and like you just kind of ignore a lot of the things. I think it's
Yeah. That was the thing, is that I was so used to it at that point that, like, if I got injured, I would just continue training because it was like, I can still move. It hurts, but I can still move fine.
yeah.
So I understand what you mean with the bursitis thing and pushing it too hard. That's the problem with calisthenics as well, is that the intoxication that you feel when you get something, like you just keep wanting to do it again and again and again until you get it again.
Yeah, it's
It's
also
not like in weightlifting, like, shit, I didn't get this lift, I'm not going to risk it. No, you're like, this isn't lifting, I'm going to do it again and again and again.
like for handstands, you can literally do it anywhere. Like you don't need to be at a gym, or you don't need a pull-up bar. You can just any ground you can do it. So like then you just
That's actually one of the arguments I made in one of my posts. I was literally saying, here's a workout where you just need the floor kind of thing. Like, and if you don't have a floor, well, you've got bigger problems. It's like you're floating.
pretty amazing. Obviously, that you can train anytime with no excuses, but then it can also be a bad thing if you overtrain. So
yeah, it's something that with experience I've learned that you do need to have the right mindset. It's not something that you can attack emotionally. Calisthenics, I mean, yes and no. Like certain moves you won't unlock, as the way they put it. They're unlocking a move, like especially in freestyle, when they unlock a new move or they do something they've never done before, it requires a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotion, because it's not coming from that base of gymnastics or technique. It's more just like, okay, I've seen other people do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
And that's it. It's just I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
But yeah, but essentially, I haven't been able to do it. Like, I haven't done much handstand work at all since I've gotten the shoulder issue. So I'm a little worried. Like, I haven't done like handstands in like almost, maybe it would be probably close to 2 months by the time I decide to do it again. I just hope I didn't lose it. Like, have you ever had?
No. You won't lose it. The one thing I told
It's like a
the kids
bicycle.
at the park, it's kind of like that, because you have to, like, one thing that I understood as well is kind of like what I did with my muscle ups. I kind of try to understand what the exercise is and whatnot, and how it works on a physiological, like the body movement aspect of it. And I was just thinking to myself, a handstand is just standing really. It's your feet and your arms are just formed differently for different purposes, but your brachialis, your bicep, is your hamstring. Your quadricep is your tricep. It's even got three heads. You got three heads on your quadricep. You got two heads on your hamstring, and your glutes are like your shoulders. If you got tight glutes and you got tight shoulders, you're not going to be able to move around.
Yeah, but
And the lower back.
but it's not just about understanding what you're doing. It's also it is like a muscle memory kind of thing as well, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a muscle memory, and it's also like as soon as you go and you do a handstand against the wall and you press your stomach against the wall, you'll be like, okay, got it, I remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I remember how this is. Okay, cool. It's a muscle memory thing, because even after my operation, I didn't lose my handstand.
Yeah, so I guess you had to take a long break as well, right, from handstands after.
Yeah. With my with the operation that I had on my back, I was in the hospital for a total of about 4 months.
You were like I mean, you didn't train for 4 months, so you were in the hospital for 4 months.
Oh, no, I was in the hospital for 2 months, and I couldn't move for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, the 2 months in the hospital was interesting because it was basically the doctors that were specialized in what I had weren't available, so they just basically just kept on putting me on painkillers, and they kept me there because I had these bad sort of spasms because of the hernia. If my nerve became too inflamed, I would get spasms where I couldn't control the pain, and I would literally start like jerking around because my body would just start. So they kept me there, and even after all of that, even after taking like nearly a year to recover, because I had to wear a harness for about 4 months. When I first decided to do the handstand, I did it on P-bars because I didn't want to, risk my wrist getting messed up or anything like that. And I had some grip, at least. It's a little bit more solid on P-bars. That's what I noticed. Like when I started off handstand training, I messed up too much by flipping, like going banana forward, banana forward, banana forward. I ended up getting like an injury on my wrist. So the only way I could do handstands at that point was by holding a P-bar. That was the only way I could do it.
Yeah.
Because this hurt. I couldn't even put my hand in the push-up.
Like for me, I'm more used to the floor just because I probably practice more on the floor. For the
I initially started practicing on P-bars because it was just more comfortable based on injury.
Also depends on the type of entry that you do. Like some people do start with a bent arm entry and then they kind of push up.
Whereas that was how I did it.
Okay, because I did the straight arm one, so it's a little bit more like about like balance, like getting putting enough.
You went for the progressions where they like Gabo Saturno style, where you get the straight arm strength, you get your balance, and then from there you work on it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just from
like I remember there's one of the because I know that in experience I learned that I kind of went about it the wrong way. I didn't use the wall, for example. I know that the wall is a quintessential thing when it comes to handstands. It gives you the ability to be comfortable upside down, which is
for sure,
really important.
Yeah.
And
even
I didn't use the wall.
It's totally fine.
I just went to the free handstand.
Yeah.
And I've always told people like the fear of being upside down. I'm just like, well, if you really think about it, your head is further from the floor when you're standing.
Yeah, but you're not going to fall when you're
standing. So if you fell over while you're standing, you'd do. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, you just have to realize that you're not doing anything other than doing the same with your hands. Just remember that. It's the same thing. That's why I made the reference that it's the same. Like your shoulder girdle is like your hips. Your lower back is like your traps. If your traps are messed up, you can't really handstand. Like it's just one of those things. Like it's a different muscle, but kind of like flipped upside down. You know what I mean?
I think it's also like it's important to have the shoulder mobility to be able to hold it like this, because a lot of people are lacking it.
Exactly. But remember, if that's the case, then the same thing applies to squatting. You need hip mobility, which is the same thing as having shoulder mobility.
It's true. So I'm surprised that you still, even with the hernias, you do squats and deadlifts.
Yeah.
Okay, because
it's
for calisthenics, it's really
that's a matter of
to do the leg movement.
Yeah, it's very unusual. Yeah, it's very unusual. That's actually just a matter of pride, because coming from rugby and coming from weightlifting and whatnot, I've always had this mentality of being a jack of all trades kind of athlete. I didn't like the idea of being really specific in one thing. I wanted to be competent in lots of things.
Yeah.
because that way I could never. It would be harder to find.
Right?
Yeah, like I do very much like what Bruce Lee says. For example, take the good, remove the bad, and apply the you. When you learn something,
Yeah.
take the good information, reject the bad information, and then add the you, and that makes it yours.
It's true.
And that's kind of how I try things out. Like I do things, I see how it can benefit me, what it benefits me in, and then I apply my own, take on it. So for example, with deadlifts and squats, I might do them once every 2 months and stuff like that. But it's just I'd even build up to it. So I do body weight. I would strengthen my lower back, and then I'd hit the squats or the deadlifts or whatever it was, and it would just be to check that I'm still at that level of competence more than anything else. Like I know it's going to go down over time, but it's more like I also realize that when I do deadlifts, my planche kind of resets itself to a certain degree. Like my hamstrings have the ability to lift itself up a little bit more because they now, I've done a strict Romanian deadlift. They're a little bit more activated, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha. So how many times a week do you train?
Highly dependent on my back. If I can.
I mean, just in general, like what's your training program like?
Yeah, it's highly dependent on my back. I mean, in general, I try and go every day.
Every day?
I try to go in every day. But sometimes there's no way. Like my body doesn't agree with it. It sends me every signal possible saying, "Don't leave the house, please."
Yeah, it's normal. And so for
leg training, I'd say 5 minimum.
For leg training, you prefer weights. You don't like doing like I don't know, just body weight, pistol squat.
Oh no. For leg training, I don't like weights. Like I do weights because it's a good way to supplement the strength. It's like doing weighted training when you're doing reps. It's a nice thing to add at the end of like a mesocycle of your training.
Okay.
Sort of like your peak day, you go for a weighted session kind of thing. But weighted sessions have been something I can't do for a long time because of the belts, pulling specifically where my hernia is. So I was enjoying like 80 kg dips, 40 kg pulls, stuff like that, just to maintain like a good level of strength. But then when the hernia came in, the pressure that I was getting being pushed on my back while hanging, let's just say I wasn't able to train for like 3 or 4 days after a weighted session. So you would very rarely see me doing weighted stuff, why I found the vest that you have very interesting, because I don't see any application where it would really put pressure on my lower back.
Yeah. So I guess, did you receive it or it's still in transit?
It's coming tomorrow, I think, or the day after. It should be coming tomorrow, the day after. I can't wait. Like I'm gonna go running to the gym and just see what I can do.
Yeah, hopefully it works out.
Just literally see what I can do. I'm gonna try it out, like have fun with it. The one thing I thought was quite interesting was the idea of adding rubber bands to it to have a progressively overloaded handstand. I thought that was very clever. If I looked at it, I was like, I saw someone doing it with a chain. I think I saw a video of some guy doing handstand using chains with it. Yeah, I think I saw someone using chains with it, or I saw someone using chains that had your vest. I think it was the Norwegian guy, the really strong dude. He wasn't using the vest, but he was using chains. The guy with the 25 kilos on each side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably.
And yeah. I saw him doing an exercise with chains, and then I don't know why, it just occurred to me that you can just go shink, shink, and put the chains on the vest. So that when you do a handstand, you can literally have a progressively overloading handstand. So the peak of the movement is actually harder than the bottom.
Oh yeah, okay, that's actually cool. I did not think about that.
Yeah, like that's what when I see things like that, I get creative. That's the street workout side of me. I'm just like making the most of what I have, kind of thing.
Well, you should definitely try it out and send over a video.
I'm definitely gonna try it out. Like, 'cause the idea of doing rubber band handstand push-ups for me is really interesting because there's no direct impact or direct like pressure being applied to something, so it's kind of injury free. I used to use rubber bands all the time to train more than weights.
Okay, so right now, because you can't do weighted stuff, like your training is mostly just your body weight, right?
Yeah, my training right now is I mean, I enjoy immensely supersetting. It's just something that I did from
But
my grad plate days.
assuming you do like really high volume, then if you're just doing bodyweight, you
Yeah,
have to do high volume.
exactly. Like unless you're doing statics and stuff like that, it doesn't make any sense to do 5 push-ups and then leave a 5 push-up. Like that's not going to get you anywhere. Unless you're beginning. If you're starting out, yes, 100%, because burning yourself out with the hardest amount of push-ups you can do and then not being able to move for the next 3 days makes no sense. Like if you're starting out, it makes much more sense to see what you can do as a max, reduce it, and make sure that the next day you can do it again.
For sure, yeah. But I
because that's what happens to a lot of people. They burn themselves out.
Yeah.
With me, the two, like, people think it's showing off. It's not really showing off. It's because I've spent a long time doing this. I kind of have to make the exercises very difficult. Not very difficult, but like of a high level. So, for example, one of the things that I do the most is I'll superset muscle ups and handstand push-ups. So I'll go for like 10 muscle ups, 10 handstand push-ups, 8 muscle ups, 8 handstand push-ups. And I'll do stuff like that. Like I'll do drop sets, but with difficult movements, or I'll do 10, 10, 10. So 10 pull-ups, 10 dips, 10 muscle ups. So like I'll go old school rep style.
Okay.
For training. And I think, huh?
I think that's a good way to train. Like, you know,
yeah, and I honestly believe that it's like, if you think about it, the physiques from calisthenics from when it started off were based on reps.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, now
so if you look nowadays, you see very few physiques in calisthenics, except from like the heavy lifters and stuff like that. But that's because the reps and the freestyle sort of contradict each other a little bit.
Yeah, the guys that aren't that big though, but also if you're too big, you're not going to be good at freestyle. I think it's
exactly. You can't move as quickly or anything like that. So you'll find that they do reps and they are good at reps, but they don't do anything to gain size at all. Like I knew one guy, he was a Spanish champion. He wrecked me when it came to dips, but at the same time, he wasn't a big dude. Yeah. He wasn't moving as much weight. It was like he stayed at that weight and he got really good at that weight.
Yeah, I mean,
which tends to be the case with
gymnasts, right? He's like, I think he's won like a bunch of gold medals. I forgot his name. I'm not sure if you watch gymnastics, but
Eric,
he was like the best for like 10 years.
Japanese guy?
Yeah. He would win like the
yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Ryu or something or other, right?
I forgot his name, but
I know his arm began with an R. His name began with an R.
He doesn't do any.
He was insane.
Because apparently, any muscle he gains, he wants to gain.
Yeah, he doesn't do
from the gymnastics. Because if you gain muscle from, let's say, doing bicep curls, like it wasn't from gymnastics, and you just gained extra weight that might not correlate to improvement.
Yeah, you're basically gaining extra weight, and I can tell you from my personal standpoint that is actually the case. If, for example, I competed in, when you say what sports and stuff like that in the questions, I competed in the IFBB 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I did it as a thing because I was like, at that point, everyone was sort of complimenting me on my physique, and in the area, I didn't really see anyone that really surprised me, and they were all taking stuff. So I was like, I'll be the first Cali guy to meet you in the IFBB. Go for it. Yeah. I don't care. Like, hopefully I win, but like, whatever. If I do well, that's all I need to know. And I did pretty well in that, but it took a while to come back to calisthenics after that. Like I realized how much I enjoyed calisthenics after I competed, because it was just so boring going to the gym and repping out. I looked great, but I could tell you that the added mass on my arms was not helpful. It made anything that was straight arm very painful, because you have to, if you're going to add the mass, you need to keep it as flexible as possible. Otherwise, it is exactly what this Japanese guy says. They will mess you up.
Gotcha. But yeah, I heard, but biceps like do help for the planche. Like, I mean, all the guys I see on the internet holding planches have huge biceps. I guess. Yeah,
and that's actually, if you, it's funny because they look like they have huge biceps. They're actually very short. They all have very short muscle bellies. Okay. So the massive bicep thing, yes, 100% it helps with the planching because it actually helps the connective tissue between your elbow and your forearm, which is where the most damage happens. Like if you planch and you're straight arm, you'll find it hard. Like a lot of people won't have the stability in their elbow, so they'll sort of hyperextend the elbow. And if that's the case, that's going to lead to injury, or you're just going to fall on your face. So when you got that bicep strength to maintain the straight arm, then that definitely helps a lot.
Yeah,
From sort of you don't get this
biceps,
like the upside down bendy arm, like it goes like that.
Yeah, that's true. Let me
And
see.
that's
Let me see the thing because I want to make sure we go over all the questions.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, cardio. Do you do any cardio?
Yes and no. I can't run because of my back, but
Sure.
I definitely enjoy jump rope, and I'm an avid fan of longboarding.
I'm surprised.
I don't have a car.
I'm surprised
I
jump
don't
rope.
have a car.
Jump rope is okay, but running is an issue.
It's interesting. It's because with the jump rope, I realized that I can control the pressure I apply to my step.
Okay.
So the lighter I am on my feet, the less pressure I apply. It's more like when I jump rope, I kind of dance.
What about
Like I jump around on my tiptoes. That's how I jump rope. And then when it comes to longboarding, it's actually kind of helpful because of the leaning forward, the using your glutes, the lower back. Like it's not something that exhausts me, but it is something that kind of strengthens me. Only issue is that if I stay on one leg, then I get a little bit of a hip problem. If you skate on one leg only, then you're definitely going to have hip problems. But that's my cardio.
I swam my whole life, so sometimes I'm kind of sick of it. But I actually find for calisthenics, swimming is really great. Like because it's like a recovery, right? As well. It's not just for your heart, but you kind of like are moving your lat muscles and your chest, which is what you primarily.
It's interesting that just by saying that, it's interesting because you're making me think. It's also good because if you look at calisthenics, one of the hardest moves to do is straight pull down, straight arm pull down.
For like front levers and stuff. Yeah, so swimming would be very helpful.
So if you think about swimming is very helpful for that because you're actually strengthening the straight arm pull. Sorry.
Especially for you, I'm assuming like if you have hernias and issues with your back, I mean, swimming, there's literally zero stress on your back.
Yeah, I know. That's what I had to do when I got off of when I was recovering from my hernia. They made me swim quite a bit.
Yeah, and you're right by the ocean. Valencia has a nice ocean, I think.
Around Valencia, the city of Valencia, not so much.
Okay.
We have a big port over here, so the city of Valencia is pretty yucky.
I didn't know.
And
there's pools there as well, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I definitely need to start swimming again soon. The problem with that is the COVID situation over here. They're not opening anything. So.
Oh, is everything in lockdown? Like gyms are closed?
Yeah, no, gyms are open and everything, but things like public swimming pools, they've even gone as far as to close parks.
Oh, wow.
They're closing the parks because apparently kids go and they touch them and stuff like that. But the problem is what we're all getting annoyed about is we're saying, but you have signs here saying the kids aren't allowed to touch it. Why are you closing it?
Roof upstairs, right? So you can train upstairs.
Oh, no, I moved house. I don't have the roof anymore.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, but hopefully I'll be getting a big pull-up bar installed over here so I can do my home workouts. Because in winter it's not fun training outside.
I guess even in Spain would get cold.
Oh, it's bad in Valencia. Humidity.
The humidity in the winter.
Chilling. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. I can wear 4 layers of coats and still feel cold. It's just the water in the air.
Yeah. But you're just used to the hot weather. Because I mean, it's like what, 10 degrees in the winter? Like Celsius?
Yeah, the lowest it gets to is about 1-3 degrees. Yeah. It doesn't even get that low. It's just it feels bad. That's all it is. It goes from really hot to somewhat cold, but it just feels way colder.
Gotcha.
I prefer to stay inside either way. Just stay safe.
Yeah, I guess the situation is bad.
Any other
numbers are like 10,000 a day or something. So
yeah, it's much better to just stay home.
Yeah, you have a warm-up routine?
I do. I feel based on the movements that I do, that's actually when I train my legs, my warm up. I find that if I train my glutes a lot, if I train my quads, my hamstrings, my calves, if I get some blood flowing down there, give it a couple of minutes rest and go into my calisthenics, I find that it's it's a lot easier to do everything.
So, you
There's
train
definitely
your lower body before you do your upper body training.
yeah,
Oh,
because the thing is that because I have to focus so much on clean technique and I have to focus on the hollow being as clean as possible, just because I can't use my lower back to do a movement or whatever it is. When I warm up, the thing about the hollow is it's actually directly connected to your adductors and to your glutes. Like all these Cali movements are connected to your glutes and your adductors more than anything.
yeah.
And maintaining a good hollow body would be tension in your legs, which is something I always tell people when they're doing handstands. I'm like, tense your legs, tense. Like if you watch Psy Monster,
Yeah.
do you know Psy Monsters? Yeah, Psy Monsters.
He found out
I've
about
talked.
The vest, right? Because he was using it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That he's someone I follow. I've been following since I started this stuff. Like he's basically my Cali idol. But he gave me some advice when it came to training and whatnot. But more than anything, it was the hollow body. If you look at what he does, have you noticed that he keeps his legs like this sometimes?
Yeah, I've seen those videos as well. Yeah.
Do you know why? It's your adductors.
Yeah.
If you contract your adductors, what happens is
Everything is tight.
you give a fixed point for your abs to contract, because your abs go down into your adductors. If your legs are not contracted, there's no, like, think of a string that's not got an anchor. So think of, you tie the string to something, but the other thing also moves. So you're never going to get full tension in the string.
Yeah.
Whereas if you keep that string in a fixed place, it's going to be much more tense. And the same thing applies to your muscles when it comes to your adductors, because it's slightly attached to your adductors. If your legs aren't tense and your glutes are not tense, your body's not going to properly be able to maximize the tension in the hollow. So that's why he keeps his legs together, because by doing that, that's actually how I learned how to do this one arm handstand, because I actually learned how to hollow my body out more by keeping my legs together, by leaning to one side. I saw him do it and I was like, I wonder why.
So basically, you
found that out.
I've done it too. Like, I'm assuming, I want to just make sure we're on the same page. You focus on kind of keeping your knees together, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then together, yeah, and then
yeah,
kind of tight.
And a good trick to do that is actually by twisting your legs, because when you twist your legs, specifically your adductors are the ones that's keeping your knees together. If you think about it, like just put your knees together with your feet like this, and you'll see that right now your adductors are getting tired.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try doing some handstand practice with my feet, like in this position.
Definitely practice it. That's the one thing I've realized with Cali is, there's nothing set in gold. Nothing is in stone. This is how it is, blah, 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 blah. I mean, certain things, yes, but it's very much depending on the mechanics of the human body of the person doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that can just do what they do. Like Eric Ortiz, he's one of the best Cali athletes out there, and just through genetics, he can planche for about a minute, full planche.
Yeah, he's Spanish, right?
Colombian.
Oh, Colombian. Okay.
But Colombian, close. But he's a freak. Him and his brother are freaks. They're both incredibly talented at planching, and if you look at their physiques, it goes with it.
Yeah.
Long arms.
It took me a long time to learn the handstand. And I was really frustrated, but
that was actually, I saw one of your questions, most rewarding moment, I think it was, or like it was my first handstand push-up, and I remember it very, very well, because at that point I didn't have anyone teaching me anything. So this is like when Cali was first coming in, and in Spain there was no one. So I didn't have any reference or anything like that. So what I would do is I would film myself and then compare it to what I saw on YouTube. And I didn't know what I was doing wrong or right. I just wanted to make it look the same.
Do you remember when you got your first handstand push-up?
Yeah, because I was in the garden and I was training, and the reason I remember it is because our first family dog, who passed away very shortly after that. She was the love of my life kind of dog. You know, that one dog that sticks with you for. I've got a tattoo of her paw on my waist, for example. Um, she walked in front of it. That's why I remember it so well. She ruined my first handstand push-up video. The most rewarding moment I had when I first got it. Like, I remember getting up and being like, yes, and screaming and everything like that. And then I looked at the video and I saw my dog walked in front of it. I just saw her little butt going, blip, 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 blip. And I'm like, I can't be mad.
Yeah.
This is a memory. This is a memory I have to keep. My first handstand push-up was ruined by my dog's butt.
So I guess did it take you a long time to learn the handstand, or was it pretty fast?
Yeah, it took me a long time because I didn't understand what I was doing. Like, nowadays, I would actually almost say that kids are lucky when it comes to calisthenics, because there's so much information available from so many different athletes.
In the world, you want to learn online now. It takes you like, you just go on YouTube and it's like,
it takes you 2 seconds. When I was starting off, it was it was more than anything just watching videos and reading articles. Like, I would go to do you know Barbarians? You remember the Barbarians?
Yeah, so I'm actually having an interview with Zeph like right after this as well.
No way.
Yeah.
With the Zeph?
Yeah. So we were supposed to do it yesterday, but then he had an issue with his phone. Yeah, actually, I got a message. Give me 1 second message because we're supposed to do it like 5 minutes ago, and
oh, I'm sorry if I dragged this on a bit too much.
That's right.
You can be like, I'm talking to a fan of yours.
Yeah.
He's friends with Lee Turner.
Yeah, I need to schedule one with him as well, because he received one of the vests, and we talked once in a while.
He's good for the vest because he's an OG.
Yeah.
Like, he's from back in the days. Like, that's if you're talking about reps and stuff like that, he's a good point of reference.
Yeah, he's also like the Neo rings. I don't know if you saw the ones on the website. It's got like the rings.
Oh,
thicknesses.
I haven't seen. Oh, I saw a video of that, but I didn't realize it was available.
Yeah, they're on the store now. But basically, he's really into the rings. So I think he had the world record for the rings muscle ups.
He beat Lee Turner?
No. I'm saying Lee. We're talking about Lee. Lee likes the Neo rings. Like, he said it was a really cool.
Oh yeah. Lee's a beast. Lee's an absolute beast. Like, if he knows who. Like, Lee definitely remembers me because when I lived in London, it was like a recurring joke. There's like 3 white guys in the whole Cali scene in London. It was me, one of my friend, my best friend Rue, and Lee, and we were like the 3 white guys. And they referred, because Lee was really jacked. They referred to me as his little baby brother or something like that, like you're Lee's kid or some shit. Like, I joked around about it because we were both blonde.
Gotcha.
But it was like the joke because we were like the 2 white guys. But he's amazing for what he's done. He's kept it up.
Yeah,
like,
he's 42 now or something.
Really good. I all the respect in the world to that man. He's amazing.
All right, let's go for the next question. Oh, you have what are your current goals?
I have one secret goal, which I will be working towards with the vest, which you will see.
Okay.
And it involves handstand push-ups. But I can't talk about it now because I don't want other people to be gunning for it at this point. I want to see if I can get it first.
All right. Some people don't like talking about their goals because it makes them feel like they're less likely to get it. There's a phenomenon, like, if you talk about something.
I'm happy to talk about my goals. I don't want anyone to be like, I'm going to beat him now first. I'm going to get it first, because that's something that's really reoccurring. In terms of goals that I've had, the IFBB, I mean, I came third to the previous #1 in Spain. So that was definitely a goal that I achieved, to be compared to the #1 in Spain for IFBB men's physique, and doing it naturally, not even doing gym stuff. So that was definitely like, and
crazy,
playing for Spain and stuff like that.
But if you actually just like, I guess you don't like it as much as calisthenics, but maybe if you're genetically made for it, you just like focus all your energy on that. Maybe you could like.
Yeah, the only problem is that I'd have to kind of like, having been in that world, I know that I would have to do certain things that I'm not totally comfortable with in order to succeed in that world. So Maybe future
Yeah.
me might be like, screw it. I'm old. I can't do Cali anymore. I can bodybuild. Let's do that. I don't know. But for the moment being, it's a conflict of morality for me. Like,
So I got 2 more questions left. Or maybe 3.
yeah,
Supplements. Do you
go for
take
it.
supplements? Like,
Yeah,
recommend?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do. One of the ones that I take, which I think there's a lot of stigma, a lot of taboo around this stuff, and I just don't agree with it because, I mean, if you just inform yourself a little bit, you'll know that there's nothing wrong with it. I take one of these like test boosters in the morning because not for the test boosting, for the anti-estrogen, because I'm not comfortable with what the crap that they put in food nowadays. Like I know that, for example, if you eat anything that's ready made, like ready prepared, they pump that stuff full of estrogen because that's the preservatives and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like, just in case, I want to make sure that all my hormone levels are where they should be, because I can't control what they do to the food that I eat, but I can control what happens in my body. And they're all completely like, there's none of this like, oh, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. It's just simply Tribus testalis, ashwagandha, stuff like that. And I prefer taking greens, like a green supplement instead of multivitamins, just because it's more bioavailable available.
Okay.
Instead of having, just a multivitamin, I'd prefer to get my Bs from my B12, my B6, whatever, from like spirulina, for example. So my supplements are necessary in the sense of like, I mean, all athletes should be taking supplementation. I think it's really silly nowadays to not, because the requirements are just completely different to what they used to be. Just being a normal athlete requires you to have extra amounts of B12 because you're burning out your nervous system, or you need to have extra amounts of protein because you want to gain size or whatever the hell it is. But it's just, supplements is kind of like a necessity nowadays as an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, I do take supplements, but it's kind of like pre-workout.
Well,
I don't even like whey.
I'm just like, the level of athletics is just it's getting more and more.
Yeah, as that increases.
Yeah. Just to keep
I mean, if you think about it, like it just look at gymnastics. I mean, I saw a video recently where they showed gymnastics in the 1950s and now.
Yeah.
And there's no way they could have done what they were doing back then if they didn't have supplementation or anything like that. Like
workout. Like I remember, like back in the day, like if you do like only 1 or 2 guys can do 100-kilo dips, and now like 100-kilo dips is like standard.
In fact, I remember seeing it. There's a guy from Germany. He's Ukrainian, called Baran Sky, and he's like 60 kg, and he just did a 100 kg dip.
Yeah, this is insane.
And he's like 5'6" or something like that. And I'm just like, where is this coming from? Where are all these young people getting so strong? Why is this?
If you start younger, it's also like I don't know. I think they have like if you start gymnastics younger, you're just like better off. And I think a lot of the guys that are really strong, like started like calisthenics or just at least even strength training when they're like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see that if you were talking to Lee or to Zeph or whatever. They'll say that there's a difference between the people that were training with him and how they are now. Like he'll be like, yeah, there is a difference.
For sure. I mean, even you said you did rugby when you were a child, right? So you were already lifting weights at 14, 15.
Oh, before that, I was already trying to lift weights before that, but it was just,
could be
you see all this stuff at the younger, because it's so accessible at a young age, you just want to imitate it. You want to do it, and you don't understand what goes on behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I know back then there was more of the stigma too, saying like, oh, if you work out when you haven't developed yet, you're gonna not be as tall or something, right?
And then I go, yeah, that's why Arnold Schwarzenegger's 6'1". Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think now it's kind of been disproven. I mean, obviously, if you do like something really crazy to affect your growth plates, you might.
Yeah. Like if you screw up like I did and just deadlift like crazy and blah 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 blah, then yeah, you probably at a young age, definitely.
Yeah, but especially like anything that doesn't really like put pressure on your body. Like if you're just doing like weighted pull-ups or like weighted dips at a young age, I think you'll be fine
I'm actually noticing people are getting taller
from doing it. Maybe
because of it.
from the testosterone boost or something you get from working out. Like could be.
It could be because they're all working out younger.
Yeah. It's something that is two more questions. Like, you have something that's underrated that greatly helped you.
Underrated that extremely helped me.
Whether it be like a fitness product that you bought, or like a mentality, or I don't know, some sort of exercise.
You just said it right there. You said it right there with mentality. I think it's underrated. Okay, so I created this same pride thing because I think that nowadays people underrate themselves too much. I'm one of these people as well. Like I have to remind myself every now and then to not do this and not compare myself to, the best of the best just because they're available online. It's more the mentality of having pride in myself, like pride in the fact that I'm able to do what I do, pride in the fact that I'm able to push myself. It's like the message of don't put yourself down just because you're not the same as this guy, because you don't know that this guy might be taking stuff. You don't know if this guy's, just been doing this for years. You don't know if this guy's just really good at this. He's a talented guy. Yeah. But don't put yourself down. Don't put your efforts down. Don't put like that. The whole stay in pride thing was more about that. Like everyone, fight with a smile on your face, and it doesn't matter if you don't get it. As long as you fought with a smile on your face, have pride in yourself. So that's like the mentality mostly that helped me the most. Like, stay proud. Yeah, and not like the sin pride. Yeah, it's not the sin pride. It's just like being like, that I did that.
Yeah, especially if you see on Instagram and stuff, you see so many people doing crazy things. Like I remember in August, I was with Yad and Marlon, and they're like, "Oh, let's film a video of all of us doing one-arm chin-ups." And I was like, "Are one-arm chin-ups even like cool anymore? Like everyone's doing it online." And they're like, "What are you talking about? Like it's an advanced move. Like you should be proud of being able to do it." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's like my girlfriend has to tell me that. My girlfriend has to be like, "You should be proud that you're doing one-handed handstands with injuries, bro."
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? Be proud of yourself. And I'm just like,
and then you see everyone else doing it, and it's like.
Yeah, and it affects you. So that's the one thing that I definitely think is important. Like that kept me really, that I think is underrated, is having pride in yourself and pride in what you can do, because like we always chalk it up to what we see online, and what we see online is always going to be the best.
Yeah. For sure.
You don't know, like 90, I'd say 90% of the people that do the things that we try and do, they don't film it. They don't post it. They don't do anything like that. They just do it by themselves. And the thing that I would like to tell those people is, don't let what you see affect what you've done. Because what you've done is the same as what they had to do.
Yeah, for sure. As long
they
as
just kept it up longer.
Yourself, that's what really matters.
Yeah. That's essentially it. That's something that I think is very underrated. Very underrated.
Like when I got my first handstand, I was so happy. Like there's like even a video of me on YouTube. But yeah, it's nothing special. But like for me, it took like 5 years to get, because I was never consistent.
And you get the feeling of pride in it.
Yeah.
Like in yourself, you were just like, that's 5 years of work. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like you get happy about it. Like it keeps you wanting to do more.
Yeah, because for me, it was even harder than like the one-arm chin-up, because handstands, you have to be consistent. You have to do it high frequency. Whereas one-arm chin-ups, I would just practice like twice a week. You can't even practice more than twice a week. Otherwise, you just injure yourself. So
yeah, actually, and I completely understand you, actually. So yeah.
So last question is, I guess you kind of answered this already. I mean, Greg Plitt is your one of your biggest motivators.
I have different sources of motivation from different people. I mean, for example, in terms of skill, I would have to look at Cy Monster.
Okay.
Like for me, it's Cy Monster. He's not, I mean, I can't relate to him entirely because he did breakdancing and stuff like that. And he's a little bit shorter than I am. But in terms of how he trains, I really like that.
I think he's like 5'9". He's not that short. I mean, for calisthenics.
Yeah, he's not too short, so I kind of like, I rate him because of that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the things that he does and the fact that he's older than me speaks volumes to me. That's why in calisthenics I look to him in terms of, I want to be as clean as this guy. That's why I call it the Sai Monster push up. It's a handstand push up where you go and you kind of like go into a shrimp. So like you let your legs drop. Yeah, I call it the Sai Monster push up because he's the only guy that does it. So in terms of like currently the mental aspect of things, I'd say that Israel Adesanya.
Who's that?
Israel Adesanya, the MMA fighter, he's one of the people that I look up to because I mean, I look at him and I kind of like I get what he's doing. He's being a serious athlete using anime as a motivation.
Yeah. I noticed that you like the Dragon Ball stuff. A lot of
it's more than anything. It's because I think that anime is really good at expressing emotions. It's not so much about the words. It's the message is just given to you through emotion.
Yeah.
And it's something that you feel. It's something that you can relate to and stuff like that. So when I see him doing as well as he does and not forgetting who he is or his roots or anything like that, and not being worried about people being like, oh yeah, this Cali, yeah, but the anime thing is what kids like. Yeah, well, I can kick your face in. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really like what he's doing. And also the way that he doesn't let anything affect him because he's so true to himself. So he's someone, mentally speaking, I look up to him. And in terms of like, it was Greg Plitt, but like, I can't constantly remain with one person in that sense. Like he affected me immensely when I was growing up, definitely. But as in currently who I look towards to keep things on track, it's Sai Monster and Izzy Adesanya.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people you look up to can always change, or like you can always add on to it as you move on.
Yeah, and it's also depending on your life situation, really, where you are in life.
Cool.
So, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on and answering all the questions, and I'm sure listeners will get a lot of value from this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I very rarely get to speak to the public or speak to anyone really. So maybe some people will find it interesting to listen to a little bit about me.
For me, I found that the interesting one is the one with the legs like this for the handstands and like you training your legs before you do like the handstand work, like warming up your
specifically
legs.
Glutes.
Yeah. You never think your lower body, like a different body part to train something else, you know? So that was quite interesting.
I mean, I know for a fact if I don't train my legs, I don't have the same level of connection between my upper and my lower. So it's a higher risk of injury and there's less control over my body.
Yeah, thanks. So I got to get my charger because I'm a little scared that my computer is going to randomly die. Give me like 10 seconds.
Don't worry, guys.
And I think Zeph is waiting, and I really don't want to.
Yeah. I'll let you go. I don't want to keep the OG waiting, man.
Oh, all right, it's charging.
But yeah, man, I cannot wait for the vest. It should be coming tomorrow, and once it does, trust me, you'll be seeing some crafty little bit of ingenuity with it. I'll be using as many things as I can to make my handstand push-ups as hard as possible.
Yeah, I guess you can even do like planche push-ups. I mean, maybe you do it like a straddle or something, but with the chain would also work.
Okay, you just gave me a bunch of ideas. Yeah.
Not just handstands, but yeah, any pushing movement.
I'm now like, okay, I'm thinking of different moves already. I'm like, I'm gonna use it for the front lever. I'm gonna use it for the punch. That's a good way of training the human flag.
Yeah, there's a flag. I mean, that would be
attach the hat. You go to a park, attach it onto the top of a ladder, bring it down, put it on here, go into the flag, and it's a progressive flag.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
No worries, man. All right, brother. Peace.